Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So this is our city case studies track, and today this room we have the topic as on-site sanitation and behavior change. We have 4 presentations, one from Uganda, one from Freetown, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, and also Bangladesh. So very interesting presentations. So let me get started with experiences in Kampala. Miss Julian will be presenting. She is the project officer, the city of Kampala, looking after in the Department of Public Health and Environment. So Julian, all yours. So before Julian gets started, the presenters have 15 minutes for presentation, maximum of 15 minutes. We're going to cut off at 15 minutes. And then we will take 3 questions, not comments, but just 3 questions pertaining to the presentation. And after the 4 presentations are done, we will have some cross-cutting questions for the presenters. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay, Julian, you can get started. Your time starts now.
Good evening, everyone. We're just going to have a short documentary before I start my presentation. Thank you.
A city is only as good as its social services and amenities. But with unending rural-urban migration, a rapid population growth rate can exert excessive pressures on the city's social amenities and services. Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, plays host to over 1.5 million residents who doubled during day as of 2014 according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and with a rapid population growth rate of 5.6% per annum, the growing populace will continue to put a strain on social amenities within the city and its hinterlands. Kampala Capital City Authority, the entity appointed by the Parliament of Uganda to be responsible for the day-to-day operations within Kampala, the capital city in Uganda, has over the years embarked on various initiatives and projects to better the living conditions within the city. One main area of focus for KCCA is water and sanitation, especially in vulnerable urban poor areas. According to the recently concluded citywide sanitation mapping by KCCA, over 70% of Kampala's population use pit latrines, while National Water and Sewerage Corporation estimates that households connected to the sewer network are at 80,000 to 100,000 within Kampala. That's less than 10% of the city's population. Taking these figures in mind, and with due consideration of the situation on the ground, KCCA identified fecal sludge management as a key area to focus on as far as water and sanitation is concerned within Kampala. As such, KCCA has taken a number of steps to address this sanitation challenge, which include but not limited to the following: the setup of a call center to provide information to population, and secondly, to link them to service providers. And now, with the active involvement of the private sector-led interventions, things are looking up. And it's not just KCCA's commitment to a better Kampala and the strategic partnerships that is transforming fecal sludge management issues within the city. It's the involvement of the communities within the city. Over the years, KCCA has been aggressively implementing better waste management policies and putting in place systems that allow for best practice fecal management. This is all compounded by awareness and education drives targeting the populace, with the main messaging revolving around proper latrine and toilet use, safe emptying of fecal sludge filled up pits, and building of lined pit latrines according to the set KCCA minimum standards. So, what lies ahead for fecal sludge management within Kampala? Well, with a number of local and international partners fully committed to seeing through KCCA's vision to position Kampala as a vibrant, attractive, and sustainable city, the authority's mission to deliver quality services to the city will soon be realized. Most importantly, it will take participation and involvement from the city's leadership and populace to see through KCCA's dreams.
Presentation, please. I've already been introduced. I'm Julian Musime. I'm from Kampala, Uganda. I work with the Kampala Capital City Authority, and I'm here to present on the innovative citywide fecal sludge management marketing. This is the content of my presentation. I'll give a brief background of our city. Kampala is the capital city of Uganda. I don't know how many of us have been there. And it's a very interesting city. You should come and visit us. It has a population of 1.5 million people, and this is estimated to double during the day. That means we have many people that live around Kampala coming in to do their businesses during the day and going back, and all these have to be planned for. The situation of Kampala in terms of sanitation. We have 1% of our population that don't actually have sanitation facilities, and this is indicated by you can see that on the GNP that I've shown right there, and 38% of the facilities that we have in the city are actually unimproved in terms of when you look at the GNP, and we are looking at having this move to the improved services, to the improved sanitation facilities. That's the 24%. And when we look at our facilities in the city, we find that many of them are not of standard, many of them are not lined, and we have to deal with them because they were constructed years back, and people right now may not be able to afford to construct new ones, but we have to deal with what we have in place. However, for those that are constructing new facilities, are encouraged to use to build facilities that are of standard. And in regard to the sheet flow diagram, I think all of us, I don't know if all of us know about the sheet flow diagram. We decided to analyze our information, our data, from differentiating the formal and the informal, because we have most of our city residents living in the informal settlements, and those are the slums, and most of them are unadvantaged. They are the urban poor, and we find that 61% of the fecal sludge that is in the informal settlements is not safely managed, and 39%. And when we compare this to those in the formal settlements, there is a difference in this. So, when we look at the different challenges in terms of sanitation, the facilities that are not lined, the sanitation services that are not of quality, we decided to come up with a campaign. We decided to come up with other innovative ways of marketing the services in sanitation. We find that most of our people in in the city, not just the city, but the whole nation, don't know much about sanitation. They don't know that actually when I have a pit, it has to be emptied. They are used to the olden ways. My pit is full, I abandon it, I construct a new one. So we are looking at changing the behavior of the people, and we came up with a campaign, and we call this a Weyonje campaign. It's a campaign. Weyonje in our local language means clean yourself up, clean your environment, clean yourself. And it's a behavior change campaign. We are looking at changing the behavior and mindset of an individual. If we look at the whole community, responsibility will be passed on to another, and we'll find challenges there. So we came up with a campaign called the Weyonje campaign, and our objective is to see that we remove the fecal sludge from the communities. And in this campaign, we focused on 3 key behaviors that we go out there and sensitize and create awareness on, and that is the safe pit empty. For those who have pits that are full, we set out a message, please empty them when they're full, so that we avoid all these disease outbreaks that we keep hearing, cholera, the typhoids that keep coming up. And then for those that want to construct pits, latrines or toilets, you need to build toilets or facilities that are of standards. We have standards that have been put in place, and these have been authorized by the authority. And for anyone that is to construct a facility, we are encouraging them to construct facilities that are of standard and that are following the standards that have been set. And also the sanitation and hygiene. Yes, you have a pit and it is emptied, but how is it managed? So that's the message that we go out and preach in the communities under this campaign. So what's the approach that we used? In this campaign, since it's a behavior change campaign and it's more of a community-led one, we don't want the city authority to be the one to implement the different activities in the communities. It's more of a community-led campaign where we have a lot of involvement with the political leaders. And when we are carrying out these, when we're doing these messages, when we are doing the sensitizations, it's mainly the political leaders and the community leaders themselves that help us to engage these communities. And before we rolled out the whole campaign, before we formalized and advertised it, we had to do some testing. We had testing in two parishes, and we went to the communities and tested the different materials that we were using, had engagements with the political leaders, did some meetings with the different landlords that are there to see if they really understand our message, what we are trying to preach. Because you'll come from your office and go to the communities and just impose, and that will not be taken up. You have to involve the communities. So like I mentioned, it's a behavior change campaign, and it's a holistic approach that we are looking at, and it's integrated. And here we are looking at advocacy under this campaign. Like I earlier mentioned, there's a lot of involvement of the political leaders. I don't know if some of you were here yesterday. We had our mayor here, and that's the support that we are getting. So that, because these political leaders are actually the entry points in these communities. If you go there without them, you won't do or achieve anything. We also do lots of community engagements, sensitization, awareness creation in the communities that we are in. And a lot of meetings are held with the different landlords, the tenants, telling them what are they supposed to do, what's expected of them, asking them, do you know the problem that you have in your community? They actually tell us their problems, and we tell them, you are the ones to solve these problems. However, we are going to support you. And so that's how we do this thing in our communities. We also have formed model villages and model homes in our city, where we have let's say, villages learning from each other. And this is also an interesting thing. We also do a lot of marketing with different tools that we take out in the communities, and a lot of media that we print for publicity of what we are doing, and for uptake of the campaign and what we are advocating for. Added to this, we do a lot of door-to-door campaigns, one-on-one. We have teams that we have trained. During the, like I mentioned earlier in the approach, we have teams that move in these communities, and these teams help us to sensitize the communities. We actually choose people that are living within those communities to be the one to sensitize their own people for easier acceptability. We also have a call center in place, and as we do the marketing in the communities, we have a toll-free number that we distribute, and this toll-free number is given to anyone that is approached, and they call if they need a service, and they are linked to the service providers. And this helps us to improve on the sanitation in our communities. Yeah, this is a picture of one of our mayors who was attending one of our campaign engagements in the communities, encouraging the people to do what is deserved of them for us to have improved sanitation. And up there is one of the leaders in the communities who was signing, accepting the campaign to go on in their community, because we don't just roll it out. They have to accept it, sign, and we go ahead. Yeah, we have success stories, and through this campaign, usually when we are in the field doing a lot of awareness and sensitization, we find that a lot of calls stream into the call center. So we are having a lot of awareness creation that is creating demand, and we are having many calls coming in through the call center asking for services. And we've seen this also increase our dumpings at the treatment plants. And we also have seen people change behavior in the short time that we've had. Some people are actually constructing new toilets and that are of standard, like you can see in the picture. A lot of political involvement and community participation. So what have we learned? From this campaign, we've learned that if you're to start anything, you need to involve the community right from the planning phase. For this campaign, we started involving the community and the political leaders right from the time we thought about it to the time we rolled it out, and it's working, and we are seeing progress in that. And as we plan and progress, we have to integrate what we are actually planning into the citywide agenda, so that we are able so as not to duplicate what we are doing with other projects and organizations. And a lot of capacity building has to be done for the teams that are working in the campaign and in this project, because to have a capable team, you have to build their capacity so that they're able to know what they're doing. They need to know the bigger picture of what you are looking at. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Julian. Can we take 2 questions? No comments, but just questions. Yes, please.
I saw you had on your communication strategy GIS tracking. I'd just like to know how you used it and for what.
Okay.
Merci beaucoup pour la présentation. Alors, ma question concerne le choix du Sanitation Champion. Je voudrais savoir un peu quels sont les critères et comment vous procédez pour son choix, parce que j'ai vu que c'est un élément important que vous utilisez dans le community engagement. Merci.
Could you please repeat the question a bit?
Ok, je voudrais en savoir un peu plus sur comment vous faites le choix du Sanitation Champion, parce que j'ai vu que c'est un élément que vous utilisez dans le Community Engagement. Donc, je voudrais en savoir un peu plus. Le modèle que vous implémentez, en fait, est tout à fait similaire au modèle que nous implémentons au Bénin. Donc, cela permettra de tirer le son de votre expérience pour améliorer ce que nous faisons déjà.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, about the GIS tracking, we have, this is another innovation that we have, and we track the emptiers. And this is done in a way that we give emptiers mobile phones. So as they're going to the field and they're doing the emptying, if they reach a service, a customer or a client, we have an application that we've given them and that are on those phones. And each time they go to collect waste, they have to tap the phone and record where they're getting that fecal sludge from. And each time they reach, and when they reach the treatment plant, they also, as they're going to dump, they have to also tap it, and this data is brought directly to us. And this is helping us to really see where is the sludge coming from and where is it being dumped, yes? And it has helped us to eliminate, to reduce on the illegal dumpings in the city, and also to determine the different priority areas, the service areas, where is the fecal sludge mostly frequently collected. And it's also useful for planning purposes. So when I go to, let me go to the sanitation champions. Sanitation champions are chosen by the community themselves. Like I mentioned, this is a community-led campaign, and these champions are chosen during the time of the engagements that we have with them. For us to be able to have people moving around and sensitizing the communities, we have to request the community itself to choose those people that they trust to move around and to sensitize them. So it is chosen by it is done by the community themselves. Thank you.
Zero loan. So, Amrita, all yours. And in the meantime, can I introduce Remy? He's our rapporteur for the day, and I'm Sujaya. Forgot you. All yours, Amrita. And I'll be sort of giving you the time limits here, Amrita.
Okay. Let
So
me just work on the button. Got it. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. So you will find a lot of similarities from the Kampala work to Freetown. There's definitely a lot that I've learned from the Kampala presentation, so I might be adding a little to my very last slide. But I also want to introduce myself. So I will be representing GOAL, the NGO, and also the Freetown City Council on a pilot campaign that we did also to raise demand for mostly emptying services. So I want to walk you a little through Freetown to begin with. Oops, sorry. So Freetown is the capital city of Sierra Leone in West Africa. It is a beautiful coastal city, also on a mountain, so that makes sanitation very difficult. In 2004, the central government devolved sanitation to the city council, so that's why we work very closely with the Freetown City Council. Freetown has a population of 1.1 million people, and about 60% live in low-income, dense areas. And as I mentioned, it is a beautiful mountainous place, so about only 70% of the city is accessible by vacuum trucks. So just also to describe the sanitation value chain, so you have a little bit of an idea and a picture of what the conditions are in Freetown. So about 90 to 95% of the city is on a non-sewered system. Most people have pit latrines, either lined or unlined, and then about 30% are on septic tanks. With regards to emptying, there's manual pit emptiers and vacuum truck emptiers. Manual pit emptiers, majority are working in unsafe conditions, and then vacuum truck operators, there's public and private, and the private operators are not always functional. There's currently no treatment in Freetown. There is one designated waste site to go to, but sludge folders and drying beds are in progress and hopefully will be done soon. And then there's no reuse at all. So with this information, so Goal is an NGO partnered with the Freetown City Council and spoke to them about what are their interests in sanitation. And so Goal's role in most of our country programs is really just to serve as a facilitator and work with the permanent players, with the government, the private sector, and with the communities. And so together we came up with a goal to decrease the amount of untreated sludge in the environment. As you saw, there's no treatment, so that's a little difficult. And so then in 2015 and 2016, we worked with WSUP Advisory Group and did a context analysis and decided to focus primarily on emptying, transport, and governance. And so within that, we took a lot of the similar ideas, I think, from a lot of the Bill and Melinda Gates funded projects. And with our government work, we've been working with the City Council, focusing on strengthening regulations and enforcement. So help them establish a designated FSM unit within the City Council, a call center, SOPs, and then with the private sector, have worked on business development support to vacuum truck operators, some groups of manual pit emptiers with modified equipment for safer practices, and then we're right now in the middle of procuring a vacuum truck to donate to Freetown City Council, who will lease to a service provider. So we've done all this really interesting work in government and private sector, but who are they really working for or helping and supporting? And that would be the community. So our concern was, what is the demand for emptying services, and how can we increase it, because we know it is pretty low. So in 2017, we did a baseline community survey to really just understand, similar to what Kampala had done, is what do people know about sanitation and what are practices that are unsafe for the city. So we found that about 61% of households think it's okay to dump their sewage into drains during the rainy season, and a lot of those would be higher hilltop communities. About 36% of households dump solid waste or their rubbish into latrines, and 65% of households didn't even know a emptying service provider. So with that information, we worked with the Freetown City Council and with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, their health education department, and together decided to develop a mass media campaign, a behavior change campaign. And so it was going to be targeted to urban Freetown and everybody they wanted. And so what they really wanted to focus on was two primary items. So I spoke about this call center. So they wanted to promote the call center, which would be used to for community members to ask for help or to book a service. And they really wanted to promote vacuum truck operators, because that is the more that is a safer and hygienic way for emptying, and it does go to at least a designated site where treatment was eventually going to be done. So with a international consultant and local consultant, we did focus groups with the FCC, with MOHS, with vacuum truck operators, with community members, and decided upon 3 central messages that we were going to keep as our themes for our mass media campaign. So very similar, again, to Kampala, empty your latrine or septic tank on time. Then the other 2 that were really coming out from the group, from the discussions, were about broken latrines, so don't ignore a broken latrine or septic tank. And the third one that really came out from the vacuum truck operators is do not put solid waste into your latrines. So taking that information, from the focus group discussions and engagements with the city council, we worked with a international consultant to, on a very iterative process, to design a brand. So the brand is Clean Latrine for You Well Body, and so that's in Creole, which is the local language in Sierra Leone and most frequently spoken in Freetown. And then we worked on an iterative design process for these messages. So we knew we wanted some artwork. So the first one, and sorry if the visual's small, the one in the middle, this yellow one, these are the draft version. So it's this sad-looking septic tank. And we took it back to market testing, and people had no idea what that was. And then, the designer, the artist, refined it a little bit more. I'd had another one of our visuals about this little boy at the bottom here. And so the feedback from that one was, that's extraordinarily insulting. How would any Freetonian allow for their child to go knee-deep in shit into a latrine? And so it's just interesting about the working with different partners and just the feedback that we've been getting back from them to really refine our campaign. So I'll show you the one that we chose, and hopefully you like it. So this is one of our messages, but the other two are very similar. So we start off with a really large central message, and then a call to action in the black little box. And then in the smaller writing, we talk about, sorry if it's a little small, talk about the health and economic impacts as well as the fines and penalties. And this is what MOHS and FCC really wanted to highlight to people. So as you see, we've highlighted the brand, the Clean Latrine on one side. The other side, you can see the logos of FCC and MOHS. And then in big writing is the phone number to call for the call center. There's two primary phone companies, so we've added both of those to call for the Freetown City Council latrine and septic tank emptying call center. And so we had the messages, and then we wanted to do a mass media, and we wanted to have it on multiple channels. So we had the artwork, and then we wanted to do a TV and radio ad. And so TV and radio are quite popular in urban Freetown. So we worked from the storyboard to an actual 2-minute radio, 2-minute TV ad. The images are just the screenshots, and sorry, I should have brought the actual video. It's a very loud message in Creole. But worked, so that's on two TV stations, 2 radio stations, and was aired twice a day. So I told you a little about the why, the who, the what, the how, and then when we did this, the campaign was launched in conjunction with the Freetown City Council call center launch. And so we had funding until 2018 to run this, and so we started this in November 2017. So the campaign, I've showed you the artwork and a little bit of the TV and radio ad. Additionally, so we had billboards around the city, and so these are in 2 high visibility areas, one in the west and one in the east. We also had SMS blasts, we had WhatsApp groups, we had LED screen visuals showing this out, and then we also had just newspaper and newspaper ads, and with the TV and radio act. So that was a lot going on, but also we decided to do a community engagement. So again, similar to what you've heard before, and this was, I think, one of our more effective portions of the campaign, because Freetonians are very community oriented and meet and discuss. And so we also did very similar, had meetings with counselors, with chiefs and religious leaders, again, to ask permission to enter into their communities, to get their ideas on the campaign, and then worked with a local consultant to have social mobilizers go out to about 14,000 households in about half the wards in Freetown over a 3-month period. they handed out a flyer which had the campaign information, so the messages and then the contact information. And then also spent a few minutes to just discuss the importance of sanitation and emptying their latrines. And then they also asked a couple questions about what their current practices are in terms of emptying, and then what their perceptions were of the campaign. So it was a short portion of our campaign, and you'll see in the lessons learned, and as we heard in Kampala, that stressing that is something I'd like to continue with. But I want to show you a little bit of just a snapshot of the results. And so I've got a couple of lines here, so I'll walk through it. So first, if you could focus on the orange bars. So the orange bars is the amount of fecal sludge that's coming to Kingdom, which is the only designated site. And again, these are from vacuum truck operators. So the graph starts from June 2017 to September 2018. So our campaign, if you remember, started in November 2017. December was the first full month of it. So the green line shows the calls that were made for service providers, and then the blue line shows for people who called the call center regarding complaints. So you can see in those first 3 months, it was a significant increase in calls, with February being huge. And then you can see that it tapers off for the remainder of the year. So keep that one part in mind. Then also, and I should have highlighted, sorry, but if you take a look at July 2017 and July 2018, you'll see some considerable increases. So now this data is not perfect by any means, but it can show you that there perhaps was an increase in the amount of emptiers. So we do think that there was probably a lag from when people called the service provider just to say, hello, I need an emptying, and then got a price quote, and then decided to save up money and call again. So we do think there's a little lag from when the campaign started. But then some of the decreases you see in the Kingdom data in the fecal sludge could also be because the dump site was closed because solid waste had blocked it. So I still want to improve on our M&E, but this is just a small snapshot of the data to show that there has been some increases from 2017 pre-campaign to 2018 post-campaign. But you can see a considerable decrease in the number of calls, which also corresponded to when our social mobilization component stopped. So also a good amount of lessons learned that we've come out from this campaign. So with, as repeated before, the implementation that I'm representing an NGO, but as you can see, if you remember, there was no NGO, there was no goal logo, there was also no funder logo on it. It was just from Freetown City Council and the MOHS. So we thought that was extraordinarily important, that it's a devolved function, it is their responsibility, and that's also another sign of ownership. Our engagement with the community leaders we thought was helpful, but I think something that we would definitely want to be continuing. And I think we also need to reevaluate some of the messages that we had. So we realized that we actually didn't really provide an enabling environment for some of the calls for people if they have a broken latrine. What do they actually do? Have we connected them or given them resources for that? We didn't really highlight that the call center also has a complaint mechanism. And then I can see my time's going. So I also want to talk about just what our future plans are. So we did a lot of this research a few years ago, and so now what we want to do is revisit and actually see, do we understand people's motivations and barriers to emptying practices? So we are piloting some community dialogues. And as said before, we really want to make sure that this ties in well with an overall sanitation marketing plan. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Amrita. Sorry I had to cut you off, but just one burning question. One question, okay.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I just would like to know, so you mentioned that 70% of the households do have access that where a vacuum, truck can go and desludge. And it's a hilly kind of a town, so 30% households do not have access. So how do you engage with those households, and what do they do for the tank cleaning, and how do you take care of that?
Sure. So I think that's a good lessons learned that we took out from it, because there are manual pit emptiers who are able to get to those households. So when we revise our messaging, we want to include manual pit emptying. But we've done, so we started our community dialogues, and I was in one of our inception meetings, and we were in a very hilly, remote community, and somebody asked, well, yeah, I can't get a vacuum truck. That would be great, but I can't get one. What do I do? I just empty out into the drains. And so that's when we verbally told about the manual pit emptiers, but that's a huge population that we need to be emphasizing more, that there are service providers that could be helping and supporting them.
Thanks, Amrita. Our next presenter is Mr. Lassina Togola from Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, and I think he will be presenting in French.
Présent ce soir, on va casser un peu le rythme avec l'anglais. On va aller un peu en français. Okay. It is not my PowerPoint. Ok, right. D'accord, je suis Lassina Togola. Attends, je vais vérifier d'abord ce truc. Ok, d'accord. Ok, right. Voilà, donc je suis Togola Lassina, je viens de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je travaille pour payer ici en Côte d'Ivoire. Et là, je vais vous présenter en fait les travaux de notre projet sur la prestation des services d'assainissement. Donc le projet, c'est un projet régional sur 3 pays qui est financé par l'USAID. Donc les 3 pays sont le Bénin, le Ghana et la Côte d'Ivoire. Donc il faut remarquer que c'est un projet en milieu urbain. Donc en Côte d'Ivoire, comment nous faisons pour que les clients, disons les propriétaires de maisons, gagnent de l'argent en construisant un puits perdu? Il faut remarquer que le projet vise à développer le marché de l'assainissement en Côte d'Ivoire, c'est-à-dire à faire profiter le secteur privé en s'investissant dans l'assainissement. Donc le contexte, c'est quoi? En Côte d'Ivoire, nous avons en fait le diagramme ci, qui donne un peu la répartition, qui donne un peu la répartition en fait de l'assainissement. Donc nous avons 33% de l'assainissement amélioré, 43% sont en assainissement partagé, 6% de défécation à l'air libre et 18% qui sont en fait de l'assainissement non amélioré. Donc quand nous prenons le cas de l'assainissement partagé, il y a plusieurs sortes d'habitats en Côte d'Ivoire. Nous avons ce qu'on appelle l'habitat partagé, c'est-à-dire vous avez des cours communes où vivent en fait plusieurs personnes, en même temps plusieurs familles. Vous avez aussi des cours communes, mais avec des habitats qui sont en fait qui sont privés, et puis vous avez des habitations qui sont privées. Donc quand nous prenons le cas des habitats qui sont en fait partagés, vous avez une cour où il vivent plusieurs personnes, plusieurs familles. Donc pour ces gens-là, nous avons environ 40 personnes qui peuvent vivre en fait dans une même cour, et ces cours généralement ont des fosses septiques qui existent, mais qui sont connectés à avoir 2 ou 3 latrines en même temps. Donc qu'est-ce que ces gens font lorsqu'ils construisent les fosses septiques? Ils essaient de faire la fosse le plus grand possible, pour ne pas que ça se remplisse très vite. Donc, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Lorsque ces fosses-là sont utilisées pendant 20 à 30 ans, elles ne sont pas vidangées. Donc, de ce fait, lorsqu'elles se remplissent, il n'y a pas de service adéquat pour enlever en fait la boue qui est devenue assez solide. Donc, il faut remarquer en Côte d'Ivoire aussi, il y a 2 sortes de services de vidange. On a ce qu'on appelle la vidange avec l'hydrocureur, qui peut en fait enlever toute la boue. Mais il y a aussi le service de vidange simple, c'est-à-dire c'est des camions qui sont vétustes et qui n'ont pas assez de force de leur pompe et qui ne prennent que l'eau. Voilà, donc dans ce contexte-là, il n'y a pas de service adéquat pour vidanger en fait les fosses qui sont déjà remplies. Donc quand nous prenons ces cours qui ont des fosses septiques, 45% de ces fosses-là ont une expérience de déversement, c'est-à-dire chaque fois, ces fosses-là coulent. Donc, à force de faire la vidange, ces propriétaires de ces fosses, arrivé à un moment, ils n'ont plus d'argent pour pouvoir faire la vidange. Donc, ils laissent couler en fait l'eau de fosses septiques dans la cour. Donc, vous voyez ici, ce sont des cas qui existent et qui peuvent faire des années, des mois qui sont là. Les enfants jouent dedans et tout ça. Donc, c'est des problèmes de santé publique. Donc ici, vous avez aussi certaines images. Ici, vous avez un puits perdu qui existe là, une fosse septique. Et vous voyez la dalle d'une fosse septique ici qui est cassée. Donc, vous voyez que l'eau même connaît la direction de la sortie de la cour. Donc, ça vous dit que c'est des choses qui existent pendant plusieurs semaines et les gens ne font rien pour pouvoir vidanger. Quelles sont les raisons, en fait, du déversement des fosses septiques? D'une part, on construit les fosses septiques sans le puits perdu. Aussi, les fosses septiques, comme je le disais tout à l'heure, sont remplies de solides. C'est-à-dire, il y a la boue qui remplit la capacité entière de la fosse septique. Donc, la capacité qui reste n'est là que pour stocker, en fait, les eaux. Aussi, lorsque le puits perdu existe, il est sujet aussi au remplissage avec, en fait, de l'huile, du savon, etc. Donc, qu'est-ce que nous avons fait? Lorsque nous avons fait l'étude de marché, nous avons en fait développé une approche en 5 étapes. Donc, nous avons développé des prototypes de solutions pour ces cours communes-là qui ont des problèmes de déversement. Donc, ensuite, nous avons sélectionné ce qu'on appelle un puits perdu comme solution et nous avons fait des itérations. Nous avons regarder un peu le coût de production et puis voir le coût aussi de la mise en œuvre pour pouvoir développer en fait des puits perdus qui sont quand même assez abordables pour ces clients-là. Ensuite, pour la mise en place de ces puits perdus-là, on a développé des services complémentaires. Vous allez le voir dans la suite des diapos. En troisième étape, nous avons sélectionné des maçons que nous avons formés pour installer correctement les puits perdus. Ensuite, nous avons en quatrième étape, nous avons créé la demande. Comment nous créons la demande? Nous y recrutons des agents de vente qui vont faire du porte-à-porte. En fait, ils se basent en fait sur le fait qu'on voit de l'eau couler dans une cour. On va dans cette cour-là et on essaie de convaincre le ménage pour pouvoir construire le puits perdu. Ensuite, nous mettons en lien les opérateurs de vidange pour pouvoir en fait faire la vidange avant la construction du puits perdu à travers un centre d'appel. D'accord, donc quelle est la situation actuelle? En Côte d'Ivoire, normalement, quand quelqu'un construit en fait ses toilettes, vous allez constater que les toilettes en même temps sont les douches, c'est-à-dire le WC et la douche sont dans la même cabine. Donc de ce fait, toutes les connexions de l'eau grise, de l'eau noire, des eaux vannes et puis des eaux de douche vont directement dans la fosse septique. Ensuite, la fosse septique, elle ne dispose pas de puits perdu pour pouvoir prendre en fait le relais en fait des eaux qui viennent en surplus là. Donc, qu'est-ce que nous avons essayé de faire? C'est de changer le système. Donc, ici, nous allons prendre les eaux de douche qui vont aller directement dans le puits perdu. Bien sûr, on va mettre d'abord en place un puits perdu. Ensuite, nous prenons les eaux de douche qui vont aller directement dans le puits perdu. Et les eaux de WC, les eaux vannes, vont aller directement dans la fosse septique. Donc, voilà le système que vous avez ici. Mais il faut dire que le puits perdu que nous faisons là, c'est constitué de cerceaux qui sont faits en béton non armé. Ensuite, nous mettons en fait des graviers ici pour limiter en fait le remplissage du puits perdu par le sable. Donc ici, nous changeons tout le système de plomberie en fait de la maison de telle sorte que les eaux de douche vont aller directement dans le puits perdu et les eaux vont rentrer ici dans la fosse septique. Donc, comment installer un puits perdu? D'abord, il faut faire la vidange de la fosse. Donc, ça, c'est la première étape. Après la vidange, le maçon qui a été formé va installer le puits perdu en faisant aussi la connexion de tous les tuyaux. Donc, ensuite, maintenant, le ménage qui hésitait de mettre en place de nouvelles toilettes, parce que s'ils ajoutent des toilettes alors que ces eaux des toilettes ne peuvent pas aller dans la fosse septique, c'est un peu compliqué. Donc, lorsqu'ils résolvent ce problème-là de coulement, ils peuvent ajouter de nouvelles toilettes dans leur cours. Donc, comment nous créons la demande? Cela se fait en 4 étapes. La première étape, c'est de connaître le problème. Lorsqu'on connaît le problème, on discute avec le client, on lui donne la valeur de son problème, combien ça lui coûte. Par exemple, le nombre de vidanges qu'il fait par an, par trimestre, on calcule cela. Et puis ensuite, on lui donne la solution qui est notre ouvrage. Lorsque la solution est connue, on lui donne aussi la valeur de la solution. Donc, lorsqu'il fait des comparaisons entre ce qu'il dépense dans le problème et puis ce qu'il va économiser en mettant en place la solution, et ça lui donne en fait une décision. Donc, ici, nous avons un peu une simulation d'épargne en fait lorsqu'on installe un puits perdu. Vous avez ici, lorsqu'on ne construit pas le puits perdu, on fait la vidange au moins 4 fois dans l'année. Et lorsqu'on met le puits perdu, au minimum 1 fois dans l'année. Donc, si tel est le cas, on se retrouve avec une économie d'environ 1200 $ après 5 ans. Donc, quelques résultats. Depuis fin 2018, décembre 2018, nous avons construit 216 un puits perdu pour un coût unitaire de 330 $. Et les propriétaires qui ont construit là ont dit qu'ils arrivent à économiser de l'argent, environ 216 $ par an, après en fait, la première année. Donc, quelles sont les leçons apprises? La première chose est qu'avant de faire l'investissement, le propriétaire il doit forcément investir en fait, dans ce qu'on appelle des services complémentaires, c'est-à-dire la vidange de la fosse et puis aussi le changement en fait, de son réseau de canalisation. Ensuite, nous avons noté une opportunité pour les clients en fait, de dépanner de l'argent lorsque... Pardon. Nous avons remarqué que lorsque ces clients, lorsqu'il y a plus de personnes dans la maison, il faut qu'ils construisent en fait deux puits perdus. Pour cela, il faut forcément... ils voient en fait l'économie d'argent après 3 ans. Après 3 ans de service du puits perdu. C'est-à-dire lorsqu'il y a plus de 30 personnes dans une maison, on conseille de faire 2 puits perdus. Et lorsque le monsieur il fait 2 puits perdus, l'investissement est un peu plus lourd. Donc, il ne voit que l'épargne d'argent au bout de 3 ans en fait, de fonctionnement du puits perdu. Actuellement, à Abidjan, la pression du gouvernement fait que les populations sont en train d'acheter en fait, les puits perdus. Parce que le client ne voit pas en fait, le problème de santé lié à l'écoulement des eaux usées comme un problème prioritaire. Donc, ils ne voient pas en fait cette priorité-là. Donc, quand le gouvernement fait une certaine pression, ils sont obligés de se mettre un peu au pas. Aussi, on a développé aussi un système de crédit pour les clients qui n'ont pas assez d'argent pour acheter en fait le puits perdu d'une seule coup. Et enfin, on a développé aussi des modèles de puits perdus qui sont quand même non profonds, c'est-à-dire les puits perdus actuels, on les fait avec 7 cerceaux. Même pour ce coup-là, il y a certains clients qui n'arrivent pas vraiment à acheter du coup. Donc, on a développé des puits perdus qui ont moins de 7 cerceaux, c'est-à-dire 4 cerceaux pour diminuer un peu la profondeur. Donc, voilà un peu ce que nous faisons à Abidjan, vraiment, si on pouvait faire attention.
Thank you. One question, okay?
I will also speak in French.
Thank you.
Bon, vous avez fait un très bon travail au niveau de l'amélioration de l'assainissement. Mais je vous pose les questions suivantes. Est-ce que ce projet ne pourra pas faire face, sur le long terme, au problème de perméabilité du sol, puisque les puits perdus sont basés sur le principe d'infiltration des eaux après la sortie de la fosse septique? À un moment, nous ne pouvons pas tant craindre qu'il y ait colmatage et que l'eau puisse dégouliner au niveau de... et que le puits perdu en fait, ne joue plus son rôle d'infiltration. Une autre question, un autre aspect de ma question, c'est que est-ce qu'il n'y a pas de craintes liées à la pollution de la nappe phréatique, surtout qu'on sait que beaucoup de ménages ont des puits, font des puits là pour pouvoir s'approvisionner en eau courante. Est-ce que vous avez également pris en compte cet aspect? Merci.
Ok, c'est de bonnes questions. En fait, l'installation préalable d'un puits perdu, c'est d'abord toutes ces conditions que nous vérifions. D'abord, la qualité en fait, du sol. En fait, on a des sols qui sont perméables et puis il y a des sols qui sont quand même argileux, limoneux, qui ne sont pas assez perméables. Donc, pour ce type de sols-là, on évite de faire en fait des puits perdus. D'accord. Donc, aussi, la nappe phréatique est préservée parce que la nappe au niveau de la zone du projet est quand même profonde. Et les eaux qui arrivent dedans, ce sont des eaux de douche. Donc, les eaux de douche, bon, il n'y a pas de... En fait, avant d'atteindre la nappe, quand même, ces eaux ne sont pas assez polluées, puisque les eaux qui arrivent, c'est généralement les eaux de douche. Ce pas les eaux qui sont infectées en fait du fesses. Concernant la question sur, disons, si le colmatage. En fait, si vous avez remarqué dans le schéma du puits perdu, vous avez vu que nous avons mis des graviers entre en fait, les parois du puits perdu et puis les parois du sol. Ça, c'est pour en fait, limiter en fait, l'infiltration du sable. Maintenant, ce qui concerne le colmatage par l'eau, c'est très faible. Parce que l'eau qui vient, en fait, il n'y a pas de graisse dedans. Lorsque nous faisons des puits perdus pour la connexion en fait, des eaux de cuisine et de vaisselle, nous mettons en place ce qu'on appelle un bac à graisse en amont. On met un bac à graisse qui va faire la séparation entre en fait, la graisse et puis l'eau. Donc c'est l'eau seulement qui est admise en fait dans le puits perdu.
Sorry, I will take other questions later, please. We have our next presentation. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Gola. We have our next presenter, Ms. Haseen Jahan from Bangladesh. She is the country director for Practical Action, a development organization, a key player in FSM interventions in Bangladesh. All yours, Haseen.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the treasure hunt. Okay. All of you are accustomed with this value chain diagram, isn't it? Is there anyone who actually haven't seen it earlier? No, not really. So all of us know this diagram. But, I mean, if you look at the diagram and our work, FSM is not new anymore to us. By now, we have a number of proven technologies. We have a number of business models in different contexts, and policy documents are in place. Even though we are still struggling to see functioning FSM system in many countries. Why it's like that? Perhaps the person sitting on top of the pan is not getting adequate attention. But this person is producing the sludge. This person is purchasing the service, and this person is the key investor of the FSM value chain. So let us see how we can get to this person. In fact, success of a functioning FSM system critically depends on the synchronization between the citizens and the city authorities and resonance to have amplifying impacts and effects. So from our decades of experience, we have designed the first ever citywide communication campaign in Faridpur. So the treasure hunt, but what makes this campaign unique? Actually, this campaign has been designed to give a positive message to the people, and most importantly, to demystify FSM to the general citizens. The campaign was initiated with a very innovative branding, as I said, the treasure hunt in Bangla, it is Gupta Dhaner Sandhane. This one is very much thoughtful, meaningful, and triggering branding. So let me kind of unpack what is meant by Gupta Dhaner Sandhane. If you look at the Bangla title of this campaign, the first letter, Gu, means fecal sludge. To be honest, it's shit. And if I put two letters together, it becomes hidden. If I bring 4 words together, it makes hidden treasure. And if I put everything together, the phrase tells us that in search of wealth or in search of treasure. So this is something really made people interesting. So we have targeted all segment of the population within the city of different age groups, says educational level, professions, income category, and so on, all the institutions as well as city authorities at different level. And all of the products, communication products, were designed considering the age, sex, level of education, and individual interest as well. So the entire objectives were to create awareness and enhance engagement. We had a number of steps, but most importantly, we had an impact assessment, and I'll come back to that later. So the pre-launching teaser started with a very innovative quiz competition. So one fine morning, the citizens came out, and they have seen that the entire city is covered with a number of posters having a quiz, and that quiz asks for, where does your sheet go? And that person has to respond through SMS. And the first 100 responders got some sort of token presentation and recognition. This is very engaging and thought-provoking, because this triggered individual to think of himself, herself, just what's happening to me and what I am doing. So we went through a round of this quiz competition, and there were 4 rounds of quiz competition. And we had a number of public events, and especially to access the slum population, we had a number of events and interactive events, including street drama. We tried to engage and buy in the political win, which is very essential, through public speech and other events. And very interestingly, 40% people in Faridpur city are from youth group. So we had interactive sessions for them to engage them. In Bangladesh, right now, the cell phone penetration is 150 millions. I'm sorry, because in my earlier presenters were confining with the numbers of 1.5 million. I suddenly shoot it up to 150, but it is the real figure. And the number of Facebook users is more than 30 million. So we try to utilize that digital technology as much as possible, and we promoted this through Facebook promotion, featuring celebrities and whatnot. And we had a mainstream TV drama as well. And we used performing art to access persons who are not
which I'm willing to bet is longer than most people take to generate fecal matter in the first place.
Disabilities. This is a
Commodity with real value in the marketplace. It's the ultimate example of that old expression, one man's trash is another man's treasure. A lack of clean drinking water kills...
কাকা লিখে রাখেন পরে দেব না
মানে আপনি কবে বিখ্যাত হইবেন আমি সেই আশায় তো খাতায় লিখে লিখে ভরে ফেলাইলাম, কিন্তু আমার পকেট তো ভরে না।
সেই দিন আর বেশি দূরে নাই কাকা, একটা গুপ্তধনের সন্ধান পাইছি।
গুপ্তধন?
আচ্ছা কাকা, আপনি সকালে কামটা কই সারেন, মানে মল ত্যাগ কই করেন?
মানে
পরে দেখলে পায়খানার গন্ধ লাগে।
So this is a video clip, and you have seen that Bill Gates was also there attending participating in our campaign. Anyway, this drama you will find in YouTube with the English subtitle. You can enjoy, it's a very funny one. But the most important part of the entire campaigning is the oath taking. So in the same platform, the city authority and the citizens took oath with the condition where the city authority is explaining what are their accountabilities, and also the citizens are expressing what were their responsibilities. So this became, okay. Now coming to the impact assessment, and we try to look at the outreach. And you can see that we could cover 70% population of the total population from the city, and more than 2.5 million population we covered through social media and through TV drama and other 7.3 million through entertainment. And after a year, we try to see that what are the impacts, and found that from 8%, the demand has increased till 45%, and unsafe disposal reduced from 66 to 48%. So the lessons learned are basically this campaign actually created the momentum and developed a sense of responsibility both among the citizens around FSM, their role as a law-abiding citizens, and at the same time among the functionaries of municipality, and mutual role clarity actually allowing them to stop the illegal connection, which is very difficult. It was very difficult by the city authorities because of losing popularity. At the same time, citizens started raising voice, asking for services, and this is the key of sustainable FSM services. So this social mobilization package is drew attention from the stakeholders, and it is in the process of upscaling, and there is a huge possibility of utilizing the same, tailoring the same in other contexts as well by the other countries, so have a greater impact. So that's all from my end. Actually, before I thank you, I would like to introduce you the mastermind of this campaign and the campaign designer, Plavon Ganguly. Can you please wave your hand? You can come to the dais for a second. Yeah, and identify yourself. So this brilliant boy, he was the mastermind and the designer of the campaign. And if you have any question, please go and ask him, not me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you very much. Questions?
So I'll try to answer
One. And yeah. So I think now the moderator, the presenters can just take a seat on stage, and then we can have questions for each of them, or for all of them, or any of them. So, so I had some others who had put up their hands earlier. I think.
Merci. Je vais parler en français. Pour une fois, les francophones vont prendre le pouvoir. Voilà. J'ai une question pour M. Togola de la Côte d'Ivoire. En fait, je salue les initiatives assez pertinentes qui ont été développées là-bas, mais j'ai juste quelques inquiétudes par rapport au système qui a été proposé. Je vois que les eaux de douche sont envoyées dans le puits perdu, et les eaux de vanne, les eaux noires sont envoyées dans la fosse septique. Cela veut dire quoi? Cela veut dire qu'on aura une concentration assez importante de la boue au niveau de la fosse, et je me demande, quand la fosse est remplie, connaissant Abidjan et le type de camion que les gens ont là-bas, est-ce que vous n'aurez pas des difficultés pour vraiment vidanger la fosse? La deuxième question, c'est également, je vois que vous mettez beaucoup l'accent sur le côté containment. Je vois, et on parle de safely managed. Quand la fosse est remplie, on fait quoi? Quelles dispositions les gens mettent en place pour organiser, je dirais, la collecte des fosses? Quel est le devenir des boues une fois collectées? Sont-elles traitées? C'est pourquoi j'ai peur qu'en mettant en place des toilettes, il est vrai qu'on va augmenter l'accès, mais qu'on va déplacer le problème et créer, je dirais, en aval, d'autres problèmes assez insolubles. C'est ça ma question en commentaire. Je vous remercie.